Sometimes I wake up and something is so heavily on my mind that the moment I wake up, before I even leave bed, before I do anything, I just write a poem. And today was one of those days. So, forgive me if it's rough, and you know what? It's going to be rough. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be honest. So, I think we can probably work with that. So, this poem is called Do Better. I do not deserve to belong to this movement. I know that wokeness is not a state of being, it's a journey we're all on, but I cannot forgive myself for having slept for quite this long. I do not deserve to belong to this movement. My hashtags are posted in support and in love, never out of bravery or strength or anything in that same vein. My name does not know the pain, and so this poem is for all those who can do better, myself included. To the men and women who told me harassment was only to be expected if I went out looking so pretty, who taught me I should be thankful for being made to feel dirty, I do not hate you. In fact, I have some sympathy. I can see now that you were simply complicit in a system of violence, the only space in which silence can produce a resounding echo chamber of victim blame. And yes, now you can hang your head in shame, but I would love it if after you would raise your hand and place it against your heart and say, yes, I can do better. To the men who tried to follow me home, who chased me and forced me to give you my number, who made 13-year-old me wonder if she'd spilt something on her shirt because the entire time you were staring at her chest, do better. Here's some advice. If you have to literally chase a girl, she's probably not consenting. And yes, I know we played Kiss Chase in primary school, never knowing we were inventing a one-player game, a console with a broken setting without even a pause or a stop button, where resistance was just the name of level 1, where the title of player was awarded once you won and you were allowed to move on to the next challenge, but she was left with your memory on her spine. And trust me, her mind is tired of pressing rewind. To all the men I've kissed back because I was too tired to argue, because your persistence wore me down, I hope that you do better. And not only because one day you might have a daughter, not only because you've always had a mother. If you knew no females, grew up with only brothers, I would still hope that you would do better for the humanity you were born with. And so to all who still live, who can be honest and agree, raise a hand with me and let us say, I can do better. To the men on the train who pressured me to move closer to another man, who cheered at my discomfort and laughed when he called me not by name but by body part, you were the saddest part of the equation. It's to you I direct my anger and frustration, because creepy men plus vulnerable women equals trouble. But creepy man plus vulnerable woman divided by eager onlookers is unbearable, unsolvable, inexcusable. Do better. To the men who say I shouldn't walk home alone at night, but I should call another man to look after me, do better. And anyway, what makes you think that I would feel any safer in the presence of another man? To the man who apologized for taking advantage while I was intoxicated, do better. I can't even tell whether that was a joke or whether that was abuse, so yeah, I'm part of the problem, so dear Nikki, do better. I don't recognize harassment in my own life because I expect it as part of any interaction with any man. I do not see myself as a victim because then my entire existence would be victim, and I cannot face that. I stand here like a hypocrite telling every other person that they weren't asking for it, while I doubt myself and brush my senses under the carpet, because anything else would be to admit how shockingly often this happens. To see this not just as a problem, but a bloody epidemic, I would have to acknowledge that 1 in 3 women have been raped, will be raped, is being raped. That it's not just a statistic, but a living, breathing fact that every woman has been harassed and that more men than I know have been assaulted, but we just won't let them speak. Let's do better. To the man who introduced himself with a handshake and not a grab, and who stopped when I said stop, I shouldn't have to say this, but to this day I am grateful. You see, the abusers I've met have never used violence, at least not violence in the way that I was taught violence was violence. It was never fists or kicks, but pleading and guilt trips, chipping away at my self-worth. But rivers can erode stones too. Drip, drip, drip. Do not hang up your trust like an old weary jacket, but guard it like you would a coat in London, close to your skin, pockets sealed. To the man I'm dating now, I'm sorry that I no longer fall in love like a child. You see all those comments, yeah, I thought they were mild, but it turns out that every look of lust eroded my trust, and it's kind of crappy that you're having to win back something you never should have lost. So, like, I'm sorry, but I guess this is just the cost we've had to pay. But even more, I'm sorry to all my sisters, to all my brothers who feel as though they have to apologize to others in the first place.